Tobin and Leroy here with you. Let's get to our headlines brought to you by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy a truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford.
We know trucks.
Let's get to this. You excited? I don't even know why I'm asking Leroy. I know he's not going to be excited for it. He doesn't like sports shows. But do you know today, Leroy, is the release of Netflix, their next reality show, because nobody could do quarterback after quarterback, which I find kind of crazy. Like Patrick Mahomes did quarterback, and they're like, not for me. I'm not going to do it. Cowards.
Also, all the quarterbacks decided, no, I'm not going to do it. Is that why they? Oh,
that's why they moved on to this year's show, Receiver.
Ooh.
Even though
I saw an interesting list. Top 5 receivers.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. But here are the segments. Now, strangely, I don't know why George Kittle, he's not a receiver. He's a tight end.
Yes.
They couldn't find another receiver? Kittle.
Yeah.
He's on the show. Deebo Samuel.
Okay, why do we even need 2 from the same team?
Exactly, dude, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown.
All right.
Devontae Adams.
So far, good crop.
And Justin Jefferson.
Okay. I got a good feeling about all those players. I think they'll do fine. And
so you got those 5 here to watch it. I was starting to read it, but I guess it's Netflix, so they dropped the whole show. So I was like, there's too many spoilers. I'm gonna watch it when I get home.
Jarrell said, I was watching yesterday. Tobin is the leading rusher of Shenanigans Ball, but no one ever talks about the lead blocking of Marcos.
True.
This my loose.
Hey, and I'm trying to Ray Lewis this mess.
Sorry.
Just doing my job.
World and everything.
You know, we're just having fun, baby. That's it.
So how many episodes of this receivers thing does it did you see by any chance?
It looks like
today, right?
It looks like it's 8 episodes.
Okay.
8 episodes.
And they're all dropped already, huh?
Yeah, that's how Netflix does it. They do it right.
I like that.
Just
Netflix.
Get to it. Drop a show. You know, this whole make me wait every day.
Netflix does that. You can watch the whole season, unlike HBO.
HBO or Hulu. You know.
Right. It doesn't. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter, folks. All you other people that try to space it out. If you buy the first one, there's not more people that's going to join in on the 5th episode. So usually the people are already a part of the HBO universe. They want to watch it. I don't want to be 2 months in watching this, watching House of Dragons.
Well, you're greedy because you watched Game of Thrones just after it was over. So
can I just say, Marcos, this was a feat.
Don't spoil it.
This was a feat unlike any other.
Yeah.
I was watching 12 to 15 episodes a day, and I got through the whole thing in about 2 weeks.
No,
all the years.
I did my fair share of binging as well. I was able to watch some of it while poorly doing a security job at Gulfstream. They gave me a car. Are you kidding me? I would just watch 4 episodes at a time, but by the end of those episodes, I'd be like saying words I'd never say before. I'd have like a little accent. I'm surprised you didn't just go like full knight in shining armor by the end of those 2 weeks.
That's how it is watching Love Island.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No,
by the end of it, you want to have a little chat.
All I know is that I'm gonna just say this about House of Dragons. If you had no interest, please catch up. It's about to get crazy.
I saw a clip the other day that was from the original Game of Thrones, in which the daughter of Stannis Baratheon was explaining the entire plot of House of Dragons. And then Stannis was like, that's stupid. Let's move on. And I remember seeing that scene like, who cares about this stupid book she's reading? And in retrospect, I'm like, oh, this is the entire plot of exactly what we're watching right now. This is crazy.
So what was this list you saw, Leroy?
Yeah.
It was the 5 top 5 receivers.
According to whom?
I was watching what's the show and the radio show in the morning? The three people with the
Unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike, yes.
So unsportsmanlike list of top 5 receivers.
And here's what I hate, because the main guys had the list. And I hate that people think they have to go out and do crazy stuff, right? So his number 1 receiver was Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Right, exactly. He also had the running back from San Francisco. McCaffrey.
I'm seeing the list right now.
Right. Like, and
although they're, I guess, trying to be cute and saying top 5 wide receivers / pass catchers.
Right. But
so just call it that.
Yeah.
But still, here's the deal. And I think sometimes people come up with lists and they want to be cute without really understanding the dynamics of football, right? There is nobody that changes what you do in the secondary more than a wide receiver, right? If your receiver is really good, then you play nickel, and it allows you to run the football. If your receivers are garbage, then your safeties come up, and now they can stop the run. So the receiver is extremely important in that it creates what you would say in basketball, space. A tight end, no matter how many catches he has, right, does the opposite. Because if your main pass catcher is a tight end, everybody comes a little bit closer, right? Thus putting him in better position to stop the run. So while there's great tight ends out there and great game changers that have played at tight end, they don't do what a dominant wide receiver does to the entire field. And that's the point where you can include pass catchers, right? And I would say that other than all of them are products of, they're good, but they're products of their team getting opportunities for them, right? I mean, I played with Randy Moss. In his rookie year, 90% of his pass patterns were go routes, and everybody knew it, and they still chucked it up, and he went and got it. Nobody, you can't do that. There's only a handful of guys can do that. And there's 5 wide receivers that can absolutely do that. So to put a tight end or a running back in there is a bit unfair, because you're looking at the production and you're more looking at the offense and not necessarily the impact that those guys make on the secondary and therefore on the field. So I wouldn't include tight ends and running backs simply because what other guys do on the field, what Debo does makes it that much possible for Kittles. What Kittles does makes it that much more possible for McCaffrey.
For the record, his list was at 5, CeeDee Lamb, 4, Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, Jamar Chase at 2, and then number 1, Travis Kelce. Trying to get those Swifties on the side.
Yeah,
but I'm just like to say, and here,
well, Tyreek Hill, huh?
Not on the list.
Here's what I would say about that.
Stupid list.
If Travis Kelce didn't play for Kansas City, we would immediately say Patrick Mahomes will find a way. Right? We would never say that, oh no, Travis Kelce isn't playing. It makes it a little bit tougher for Patrick Mahomes. Right? Or Patrick Mahomes can't have any success because Travis Kelce isn't playing. Like you can't, you're not going to do that. But look at what the Dolphins were without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, with him banged up at the end. He wasn't the same, for sure.
Right. It wasn't the same offense.
I still
look
think
at what the when Justin Jefferson doesn't play, or Jamar Chase doesn't play, or CD Lamb doesn't play, right? That's how you determine the impact of those guys on the field.
I also think Tyreek Hill's better than all these guys. As far as just like number one impact that he has on nobody strikes more fear in the heart than that guy. I'm sorry.
Of course not. And that's the thing that you got defenders playing 15, 20 yards off the ball when Tyreek is outside. Right? They're not doing that for those other guys. Maybe Justin Jefferson, you might have a really deep safety. Jamar Chase, right? CD Lamb, they might. But for the most part, the one guy that you say you cannot let him get deeper than you, and you're putting that secondary so that can't happen, is Tyreek Hill. So the impact that he has on the whole defense and what you're allowed to do when he's healthy as an offense, you can't tell me that that's more impactful or that's not more impactful than some of those other guys on that list. And keep in mind, I played with one of those guys. I played with a guy who they were so terrified of Randy Moss, they hardly had anybody in the box to stop the run. It was great. We'd be third and short. They wouldn't bring out their short yardage defense because Randy Moss was lined up outside. Third and short, they lined up in nickel because they didn't want to give up the deep throw.
Goosies.
Right. So I'm very aware of the impact all these other guys have. However, I know firsthand what a wide receiver that can stretch the field can do to impact the defense.
You guys can get in on the chat, Miami 560 WQAM on YouTube and Twitch.
So I'm going at it.
You're going back and forth in the chat, I see during the break, Leroy.
Yeah. I mean, I just like we tend to go into conversations about players with a preset notion, right? And everybody from the time Tua has gotten into the league has had this theory behind Tua. And there's nothing Tua can do to shake it. That's including the organization, right? So anytime he gets banged up, it's exaggerated, right? And anytime he does well, it's minimized. And so what we're missing here is what Tua does that makes him elite at his position. And we're just dismissing it as anybody could do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's on both ends, to be honest with you. I mean, like, I'm a Tua fan, and I think that the people who are super positive on his side, I think, don't look at his flaws either. And I don't think that the people that are anti-Tua won't look at the things and give him credit for where he's good. Like, he's too much on either spectrum.
Right. He's very polarizing. But here's the deal.
Which I don't really understand why that happened, but
he started off in a bad situation because he played too soon. And instead of acknowledging that, we just chalked it up to he's not the guy.
Right. And don't forget about Ryan Fitzpatrick manipulating the media with his boohoo crocodile tears.
See, well,
it's a part of the story. It's a part of the story. Like, you talk about perception.
It's a part of your story.
No, that's not true.
It's not part of what I'm talking about as far as Tua.
We want to talk about roots of why things happen, and I'm telling you, it's a key piece to the story.
Okay. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted.
Every single Sunday with these damn commercials.
So,
what did he ever do?
He probably started playing too soon. Then he finally got healthy. Then he had the concussion issue, which it was a year, right? That maybe because we haven't quite figured out how to evaluate these things yet, you don't know what the proper time is for recovery. So he was back and forth in and out of that for that year.
Yeah, that year was a mess.
Then he had a healthy year.
But still a good year when he was playing.
Right.
Still a very good year.
And last year he had a really good year. But we diminish it. And I would say this, that who's the last quarterback the Dolphins had to lead the league in passing? Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can go two different ways about that. You can feel good because, oh, we got a guy who can lead the league in passing. Or you can do like what most people say, and it's Tyreek and the offense and whatever. Okay, guess what? Contrary to popular belief, if you don't have a quarterback who can throw it to those guys aren't going to be as good as they can be. And if you don't have a guy who can get open the way they do, the quarterback's not going to be as good as he can be. That's why you build a team. Don't then diminish it by saying, oh, well, this guy's better than this guy. Right? So, like, man, we got to let this thing go. Because I would say to you, if you don't like Tua, who else could you have had to have the year that Tua had last year? And when you start asking those questions, then people just get, oh, well, we just can't pay him all that money. They just grovel. So they think anybody else. He coaches says Michael Penix Jr. Okay, that's great. So, all quarterbacks aren't successful, right? And you would get rid of a quarterback who you've seen have success in hopes that a quarterback you bring in is going to be successful. Do you understand how irresponsible that is to run a team?
Well, I think if people are looking at that from the standpoint of like the Willy Wonka part of building a team with like where you look at a San Francisco, you look at a Houston, like once you have that guy on his rookie deal, if you can build that team around, like it's the most expensive thing in the league. So that's, I think, probably more of the thinking. Like it's could you do Tua things with a guy still on his rookie deal? I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. could or couldn't do it, but that's the argument that is. Like it's okay, could you do it back with value? Because that's where San Francisco's at right now. Now, one day they won't be. They're going to have to pay Brock Purdy too, and they'll have to have this conversation of, is Brock Purdy legitimately a quarterback, which Marco seemed to think. I saw a guy with a weenie pop gun arm who's a system quarterback.
Mobile. And correct me if I'm wrong, these reasons are the same reasons why San Diego at the time got rid of Drew Brees. Drew Brees had never had a strong arm.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he Hall of Famer? Like his arm was never considered strong.
He's the only example. I'm sick of it.
No, but
lefty Drew Brees. He's the only guy to ever do it.
But here's the deal.
When you say
there is something to be said about a quarterback who can be accurate quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't take that for granted. And everybody just seems to brush that aside like it's nothing. Yeah, if you're 6'4", 240, you can stand back there longer. Yeah. But guess what? And are you telling me that Tua's not as good as Justin Herbert? Tua's not as good as
Trevor Lawrence.
Right? You see what I'm saying? Those are his guys. Those are his contemporaries. Those are the guys that came up with him. Right. Jordan Love.
But it is funny, like Jordan Love has like a good half season and like all of any questions are already
exactly.
Tua literally had a full good year. Yes, with some disappointing results. I'm not ignoring that. And I think the thing is, even if you are a Dolphin, if you were a Dolphin fan today and you say, hey, I want to see it. I want to see it one more year. I'm okay with telling you that's fine. I'm fine with you having that opinion. I know that he's got flaws. But literally every quarterback that doesn't wear 15 for Kansas City, every one of them has him.
And guess what? You think in Baltimore they're talking about Lamar Jackson coming up small?
Lamar Jackson was on the block. Anybody could have had him last year.
Right. But no,
Anybody.
you understand
Literally
what,
anybody. He was on the trade block. Who wanted him?
Right.
Everybody could have had him.
But is it like,
I think it's more
is he considered they had the best record? Listen, going into the playoffs, I'm not just saying this. For a fact, everybody was saying there is nobody that's beaten Baltimore. Nobody.
Well, they were good. I mean, like that. They were sick.
And what happened?
Yeah, they lost.
So does that go?
He gets heat though. Like it's
right,
it's definitely
but like, dude, it's still it's a very difficult thing to take one moment during the course of a year and put it on one guy with that many guys on the field on two sides of the ball. Yeah, it really is.
Look, it is one of these things though, Leroy. Like, I also get the people who say like the team, it is a kind of bleep or get off the pot year. Like they have to go, and it's been, even the coach can acknowledge it. It's been 24 years since a playoff victory. Like they need to do real winning. They have a stacked roster.
The team does though, not Tua.
Yeah, but
if Tua has
Leroy, and I say this as a Tua guy, okay? When you are the face of the team, the face of the franchise, and you want the rewards of getting paid $55 million, $60 million, which, hey, market is the market. That came out of his mouth. Right. Then you get market is the market criticism, and you get market of the market praise when that happens.
And here's,
it's not going to go on Liam Eichenberg, although it should.
But we tend to forget, or we tend to just not even pay attention to what are the things that this team is going to have to deal with when the season starts. It's not on the offensive side of the ball. So what the hell are you going to do defensively until your guys get back?
Yeah, but the thing is last year, I think everybody would acknowledge the thing that was frustrating about the Miami Dolphins. We all watched how they couldn't score. Like right. That's fine, but they're literally taking guys off the street and giving their offense a chance last year.
Yes,
and they can do squat.
Absolutely, and I've told you why I think that happened.
I understand, and I think the coach has a lot to prove too. I don't think it's just a Tua thing, but that is what it is. That comes.
It's gonna go, but here, it can go on Tua, and I'm not saying it doesn't. Like, all right, I'll buy into it. Everybody, the quarterback is the face. He gets all the blame and all the glory.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that. That being said,
I'll tell you who we did this with, dude. It's a Sergei Bobrovsky thing. Like, yeah, you could talk about defensive system and things like that, but it was 4-goal Bob. The results are the results. Even if it was not all him all the time, and it wasn't like, but who cares? You're the $10 million man. You're the face. You're the guy who's supposed to come here. So until you do it, you do it. Like it comes with the territory for him, right or wrong.
Right. I would also say is that if you're gonna blame Tua, you gotta put a lot of that blame on that coaching staff, and I've told you why, because like the better teams that they played against, they always started well, but then when they got into the third and fourth quarter, they struggled because that team made adjustments and you didn't. And you could clearly see it. And that's what plagued that team last year. You say, do you think Tua should be paid more than Mahomes? That's not how it works, though. That's not how it works. And what does Josh Allen want? Okay. Like, okay. And here, I'll say this. Let's see what Josh Allen does without his stud. Because Buffalo is under the impression that we got Josh Allen, we can put anybody at that position.
Yeah.
And I would say Diggs was very important to that man's success.
Look, I'll answer Heat Culture's question. no, he shouldn't, but don't act like that's what the rules are. Like
the rules are who's ever up.
Like, yeah, don't act like that's kind of the point of what Tua was telling you. It's like, yeah, if you wanted to do it like that and that's how it worked, if everybody was saying, hey, you don't get Mahomes money, you don't get Josh Allen, but that's not how it works. And
that's not how quarterback works.
It's not been how it works.
Right.
We'll take a break. Back with more for this.